Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Joe Habib.
From Boston.
And we have a great show for you today. And if you want to call and ask questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. And we'll be here till about 8 o'clock tonight. And tonight, we are going to talk about the year in review. Who was the best knockout? Who was fighter of the year? And the always coveted, Beeb, caller of the year. Beeb, it's a very exciting night for us.
It is.
Caller of the year will be crowned. A lot of people in the running. For this this year.
Got a lot of text messages, a lot of phone calls. People ask me, Beeb, who's got it this year? Who's got it this year? Got to keep it under wraps. Can't reveal it. Can't reveal it.
It is a coveted title. I would say about as coveted as the WBA interim super middleweight title. What do you think? It's pretty good, right?
Or the WBC silver title.
That's a good title. What about the money belt? What about the money belt over here? Is it coveted like that?
Yep. what about the NWO belt that has like the revolving thing on the front of it?
That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool.
That's the coolest thing.
All right, well, let's get it going, man. PBC on FS1, David Morrell Jr. versus Mike Gavronski. Morrell has just 4 fights, Beeb, and is the interim WBA super middleweight champion. I don't know how you make heads or tails of that. I don't know with just 4 fights how he ended up with the belt. It is what it is, though. Morrell had a pretty easy time in this fight. He knocks out Mike Gavronski in 3. Morrell is now 4-0 with 3 knockouts and somehow a WBA champion. I guess in the same light that I'm the money belt champion. I don't know. He fought a guy, though, who was like 29-6 or something like that. I mean, the guys on his resume, while they're not stellar, they got a lot of fights.
Yeah.
What do we know about this guy? Because I don't know anything about him.
I don't know a ton about him either, but
and we follow this stuff pretty close. Would you say we do it pretty close?
Yeah, but he doesn't have a lot of fights.
Shows. I mean, we know fighters and everything, but I've never heard of this guy.
Well, first of all, he hasn't been on television a lot, to my knowledge. If anyone else can name me another time he's been on television.
What? And I know he's from Cuba, right? He's from Cuba. He's a Cuban guy. So I imagine he was in their amateur program at some point. But
well, here's the thing with PBC. They have so many fighters, not just these big name guys, but they have like a huge roster, even with their prospects. Like, you know, we're going to talk about them later. The Barientes twins. They got Milnecki. Their talent pool just keeps growing. So a lot of these guys are going to be showcased, and we're going to probably end up seeing him for the first time. Like, as I said, I don't think this guy's ever been on television before. If someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never seen him.
Why don't you explain to me then, how did he get the WBA belt? I mean, I know he won it in a decision. I get that in his second or third. I think it was his third fight, or I don't. Who cares?
You know,
how in the world do they rank him that high?
Well, here's the thing: unless the real WBA champion gets injured, and who's going to be out for at least 8 months or so, what is there even a need for an interim title? What is that? Like back in the day, the interim title only was in existence when the regular title holder or the official title holder couldn't fight for a while. But now they're just coming up with these interim titles, and I don't know why. There's no rhyme or reason behind them anymore.
Okay, here we go. Super middleweight, 168 pounds of WBA. Canelo Alvarez. All right, he's the world. I guess Fedor Chutinov has a G by his name. I guess that's what is that? I don't know. Callum Smith has an S by his name. I guess he's a super champion. Now Canelo is a super champion. And then David Morrell is the interim champion.
Well, before
They've got 4 champions. So if one goes on ice, you got 3 others. I don't understand. I don't get it.
Before Canelo Alvarez fought Callum Smith, he was actually their regular champion. If you remember, that's the belt he beat Rocky Fielding for. Jesus. And now he becomes the super champion.
Right.
So I guess now that regular title becomes vacant. So just be prepared. There's going to be someone fighting for the WBA vacant regular champion. So
how is that? I mean, how do I get in on some of this action? How do I get the WBA interim belt or whatever? I mean, I'm going to be able to call it and I mean, like, there's no point. Listen, man, I agree. It's all about money. Don't get me wrong. I know you're paying sanctioning fees. I get that. But dude, I mean, like, you know, maybe you should cool out on this, you know, making belts willy-nilly like this.
I remember Mike Tyson had a conversation in the lead up to his fight with Roy Jones, the exhibition, obviously. And he, you know, a question was brought up that, Floyd Mayweather says there's too many titles in boxing, and then Tyson's rebuttal to that was, no, I don't think so. It gives fighters more opportunities to make a lot of money. I get that, but when you have 4 champions in one, like, if you want to have different sanctioning bodies, I'm not really happy with that. But that's more palatable than having a sanctioning body with 4 different champions. That's too much. You already have the IBF, the WBC, the WBO, the WBA, the IBO, the IBC, the IBA, whatever. You get the WBF. You have all these sanctioning bodies, right? But now, if all these sanctioning bodies have a multitude of champions, then it's just never ending. It's never ending.
You don't know, you know, everybody wants to fight, you know, because it goes back to, remember we talked about title holders and we talked about champions or belt holders and champions.
Belt holders and champions, yeah.
If you win a title, a major title, the WBA, WBC, everybody knows the 4 major belts, you have the right to call yourself a champion. You just do. So if we branch this out, the interim champion, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not a big fan. I wish we could consolidate that. Those days are long gone, though. Those days are long gone.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
Yeah.
I really believe that. So David Morrell with 4 fights, now the champion. I guess already was the champion beforehand, but geez.
It just dilutes the whole system, really.
Yeah. For sure.
It's like when all the professional sports leagues, they just kept adding on expansion teams. It kind of watered down everything because now more people can be in the league.
Yeah.
That normally under the old situation or the old setup, they wouldn't have been in the league, you know? But now when you add all these teams, then the league becomes diluted with athletes that may not be the creme de la creme, you know? So whenever more isn't always better. More sometimes makes it worse.
And I've never seen as many champions as the WBA puts into place without any explanation for it. You know what I mean?
The WBA has the least credibility out of everyone.
They really do.
They really do. There's no question about it. And the IBF is okay because they only have 1 belt and everything, but their rankings are horrible. Like look who they rank. Like they have, like, their number 1 contenders are always the worst. Like they have the worst ranking. You know?
It's ridiculous. It is completely ridiculous. You know, everybody dumped all over this card last night. Everybody on social media dumped all over this card. But if I'm being honest, listen, in name only, it was not a great card. Put it that way. It wasn't a great card in name only if you're just looking at the fighters' names. But overall, it was an action-packed card. They all ended by knockouts. There was no, I mean, it was a good action card. You had some upsets on there. Juan Macias Montillo versus James Kirkland. James Kirkland, back for the first time in a long time, exits pretty quickly also. Montillo knocks out James Kirkland in the first round. Kirkland came out. I thought he got, he got caught early and just never recovered, man. And it was bad. It was, Beeb, I know you saw this, and it was just bad. when he got knocked out, yeah, I don't want to see him again, man. I don't care if Ann Wolf's with him or whoever. I don't want to see him again. This was not good. This was kind of decided for him that, it was one of those, sometimes you're wondering, like, should I retire? Should I not? Yeah, this should not be left up to you. You should be done with this. No questions. So
yeah. I mean, this guy's long been ready for retirement. I was shocked to see him in the ring last night. I really was shocked. And at some point, you got to look at the guy's, last couple fights. And if he's getting knocked out viciously, the commission's going to have to start taking a look at, do they want to sanction this guy's fights anymore? They want to allow this guy to fight, right?
Somebody's going to allow him to fight, babe. You know what I mean? I mean, let's be honest. If he wants to keep
you're
fighting,
probably right.
Let him fight.
You're probably right. You're probably right, but it's
awful.
I think it's just totally wrong.
Yeah, which is awful.
And he's never gotten back with Ann Wolf, and that's when he was at his best. And for some reason,
listen, man. I mean, he's up there. He doesn't listen. Ann Wolf doesn't strike me as the type that's going to take it easy on you in training.
Yeah,
she just doesn't. She doesn't seem like she's going to put up with a lot of nonsense in training. So. I don't know. I mean, if he wants to blow off training or whatever, then he's able to do it now, I'm sure. But Ann Wolf is a no-nonsense person, man.
Yeah.
So, Chavez Barientes, friend of the show, versus Paul Carroll. Barientes beats Paul Carroll by TKO at the end of the third. Chavez looked pretty good in this fight, man. He knocked Carroll down in the third, kind of at the end of the round. Carroll's corner decided to not let him come out in the fourth. Beeb, I thought Chavez looked pretty good in this fight.
Look sharp.
Knocked the guy out, which is what he was supposed to do. He's the more aggressive fighter out of the two twins. So I thought he looked pretty good. He looked pretty good. So yeah, man, for sure. Now the upset of the week here. Trayvon Lawson versus Angel Barientes. This was an early stoppage, man. Maybe. A lot of people called it an early stoppage. Trayvon Lawson upsets Angel Barientes with a fourth round TKO. Let me tell you that Lawson threw 6 right hands, connected with 6 right hands to end the fight. Barientes got up, but the ref did not like what he saw and decided to stop it. Let me say this. I love the Barientes twins. I love them. They're great kids. Got a good head on their shoulders, and he'll be back from this. That being said, that was not an early stoppage. A lot of people were complaining that it was an early stoppage. I did not think it was an early stoppage. And I'll tell you, when Barientes got up, he got up at the corner. The referee motioned, come forward, just like they always do, is what they're supposed to do. He took a slow step forward. He looked a little groggy. Referee was talking to him, and he was just kind of frozen there. Referee, I thought, made a good call and stopped the fight. Beeb, what were your thoughts on that?
At first glance, it looked like it was a quick stoppage, but again, if boxing history has taught us anything, this is one thing that we've learned. All we have to do is go back to Julio Cesar Chavez versus Meldrick Taylor.
I agree.
Okay, when a referee asks you, "Are you okay?" The nod. This is not enough. This is what and he got up, took a step, and the referee asked me if he's okay. And then he just goes like this, sheepishly goes, like a little quick nod. If boxing history has taught us anything, you need to verbalize that you're okay. You don't start screaming you're okay after the fight has stopped. You start screaming I'm okay when the referee asks you. And here's another thing. What we have to really look at too is these referees, I think, during their pre-fight instructions, and I've never heard them say this, and a lot of times they go into the locker room and they talk to the fighters, when I say break, you break, the guy gets knocked down, you go to neutral corner. If you hit him when you're down, I could take 1 point or 2 points or even possibly to squat. They go through their whole spiel, right? At no point in time have I ever heard a referee say pre-fight to a fighter, If I ask you after you get knocked down and you get up, are you okay? I don't want to nod. I don't want to, thumbs up or anything like that. I want you to tell me that you're okay verbally. And I think that's what needs to be done. I think that needs to be added into the instructions, because a lot of fighters will do the nod, and sometimes they won't be looking at the referee. They'll be like this, and they just go like that, like a lot of times, like when you're asked something and you're not really enthusiastic about it, or you're not really with it, instead of saying, when someone asks you something, a lot of times you'll be like you'll go like this. That means you're not really fully committed to it. So when you just do a half sheepish nod, that's not a great indication whether or not you're with it or not. You got to say, yeah, I'm ready to go. Like when they asked Tyson Fury after you got up from the Wilder knockdown, yeah, I'm ready, I'm good. Like he was like really animated about it.
Yes.
You got to really show
the
referee that you're ready to go. You can't half-ass that.
Let me ask you a question, B. Real quick. Let me ask you a question, because given the fact that the Barientes, their amateur pedigree, they've fought before, okay, and they've had a lot of fights in the amateurs, high-level amateur fights, right? 4 pro fights. They know what to do, right? You know what to do.
Well, unfortunately, I have to say this.
You knew what to do.
You should know what to do. I get that, but I've seen a lot of fights where a fighter will just sheepishly nod yes and not verbally say I'm okay, and the referee will stop the fight. And again, the most notorious, famous fight that happened in, go back and watch Taylor versus Chavez. He did nod yes when he was asked if he was okay. I don't know if you remember seeing that.
I don't know that he did. I'll be honest with you. I don't know that he did. When he got up, because I thought Lou Duval was on the side, and he went over there.
He looked over.
I thought he was looking over. I don't know. I don't remember that. If you say so, he did.
Yeah, I
just remember him looking over to the side.
If you go back and watch it, if you get a chance, if you can YouTube it, you can see that he nodded, but it was very subtle. It was like a little like that.
Yeah.
Almost identical to what Barientes. You see how Barientes nodded, like nodded? I don't know.
He definitely nodded that he was okay. He wasn't though.
But it wasn't a convincing nod. It was like, you know what I'm saying? It was like sheepish.
Wow.
Meldrick Taylor did something similar to that when he was asked if he was okay.
Right.
And it just wasn't convincing enough.
Well, not when he stopped the fight and he yelled, I'm okay, I'm okay. Then he got really animated about it. Dude, that was what you should have been doing when you got up.
It was the same thing. Melo makes a great point. Joshua actually did the same thing against Ruiz when he was knocked out. He didn't verbalize that he's okay. He nodded. And the referee, and if you just nod, history has shown us if you just nod, the referee is not, a lot of times will still stop the fight because he wants to hear you say that you're okay.
Listen, man, I mean, they're in there for your protection. If they don't think you can go on, or you're not showing them that you want to go on, when he stopped the fight, the way he went crazy and says, no, I'm okay. Why are you stopping it? I'm okay. That should have been your reaction when he asked you if you were okay.
Yeah.
That's the time to elicit that reaction.
Yeah.
So I don't think he knew where he was. I really don't. I don't. I think he was that stunned, and he was cloudy. And had he got hit again, who knows, man? Who knows? But at first glance, when I looked at it, I was like, wow, he stopped it early. And then I started looking at the replay. I started looking at his face, the way he went down, stuff like that. And then when he got up, his reactions. And man, like I said, man, he'll be back. But yeah, it just wasn't his night, man. I want to talk about the lack of the matchmaking here, because I'll tell you what, man, I don't think that it was a great matchmaker. I don't think it was a great matchmake. I'll be honest with you. The guy was 3-0. How much did you really know about him? I know Barientes is 4-0, and they were pretty equal, but you're trying to showcase this guy. You're not trying to put him in there with level opposition right now. You're trying to showcase this guy. This is and he took it to Barientes from the first round to when it ended. He was the aggressor in that fight. And that's the way Angel's not real aggressive. I mean, he likes to pick shots and everything like that. He's more of a thinker, where his brother just comes in and tries to steamroll you, where Angel seems to be a better boxer, but again, man, this was a bad style matchup for him, that kind of pressure. But, I get it. They were both similar. It was a good, from a fan's point of view. Yeah, it was a great match. From a manager point of view, it was a horrible match make,
Well, hindsight's 2020, and
sure.
I didn't know too much about that kid. Here's the thing: when a guy's only got 3 or 4 fights, you don't have a lot of information to go off of, anyways. You know what I mean?
What do you know about him? Exactly.
I'm sure they must have scouted the kid if they picked him. And
you would hope.
I don't know.
You would hope, man. I tell you what. Placing these guys, these big commodities on national TV like that, you would hope.
Maybe they thought that this guy was a guy that was going to come right to Angel, and if that would suit him because he could be, he could be the counter puncher. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Let's see here. I think let me do some checking here on the calendar before we go to the upcoming fights here and see. Yeah, that'll be next weekend. Okay, so we do got some fights next weekend. Some good fights coming up next weekend. So December 31st in Tokyo, Japan, Kaz Ioka versus Kosi Tanaka. 12 rounds for Ioka's WBO junior bantamweight title. Japan always has a end of the year show on December 31st. It's always like their tradition over there. Whether it's MMA, it's usually MMA and boxing. I think there's probably an MMA show going on there as well. So now I don't know if you'll probably have to catch it on YouTube. There's no TV on this one. So there you go. January 2nd, I believe the Saturday in Texas on DAZN. Ryan Garcia versus Luke Campbell, 12 rounds for the vacant WBC interim lightweight title. Interim. There was that word again. Rene Alvarado versus Roger Gutierrez for Alvarado's WBA regular junior. What is going on here? Oh my goodness. Felix Alvarado versus DJ Creel for Alvarado's IBF junior flyweight title. Franchon Cruz DAZN versus Ashley Curry, 8 rounds super middleweights. So Blair the Flair Cobbs also on that undercard versus Isuf Kinda, 10 rounds welterweights. If you haven't seen Blair Cobbs fight, you got to go check him out, man. And if you've seen it, he's a good fighter. He's a really good fighter, but he's better on the mic afterwards. He's better in his interviews that he's a fighter, and he's a really good fighter. So you got to check him out. He's very charismatic, everything like that. Let's talk a little bit about Ryan Garcia versus Luke Campbell. You think I think Ryan Garcia is going to steamroll Luke Campbell.
I don't. I think
Luke Campbell's going to beat him?
I do.
What?
I do. I'm not a huge Ryan Garcia fan.
That's special for real. Wow.
I'm not a huge. I'll tell you why. I'm not crazy about Garcia. I think his defense is very porous, and his chin is way up in the air when he throws punches, and he's all offense. His style is, I'm just gonna try to walk through guys, and no one's offered up any resistance. Luke Campbell's gonna offer up resistance. Luke Campbell's a good counterpuncher. No, Luke Campbell's a good fighter. I think Luke Campbell's gonna beat him. I think they're underestimating. I think they're underestimating Luke Campbell.
I love it, man. I love it, man.
What are the odds? What are the odds in that fight too?
My guess will be Ryan Garcia by a mile, but I don't know. Yeah, let's look up the odds, man. Notorious said that Campbell looked okay against a prime Loma. Yeah, kind of.
I
lost every round.
I gave him 3 rounds.
I think Garcia's too quick. I think he's too strong.
Nah, I think. Well, he's been in with guys that made him look like that. So,
yeah, that's very true.
I don't think that. Let's see what the odds are.
This is by far, though, even though I think Garcia is going to see, by far, this is the best guy he's been in with, no?
By far.
Yeah.
It's a big jump.
Huge.
Ryan Garcia is a minus 220. Luke Campbell's a plus 190. So the odds are pretty tight here.
That's 3-1, no?
2-1.
What are the odds? Plus, what is he? Plus 2 what?
He's a minus. Ryan Garcia is a minus 220.
Okay,
and
2-1 then.
And Luke Campbell's a plus 190. It's like right around 2-1.
Do you think Garcia can go the distance? We know Campbell can go the distance. And he's been in there with tough opposition. We'll find out.
I have a feeling when Garcia is faced with adversity and he doesn't have it his own way, I have a feeling he's going to be a different. I'm going to say something very. This is going to be very shocking to you, and maybe a lot of people out there. I think Ryan Garcia is going to turn into another Victor Ortiz.
Wow!
Remember how highly touted Victor Ortiz
Put some respect on his name. Oh wow!
But Victor Ortiz just wasn't a great defensive fighter, and he.
You think Garcia is going to turn out to be like that dude from England who fought Joe Joyce?
No,
the guy who quit in the fight. No, you don't think he's quitting. You don't think he quits in the fight, though, right?
I think Garcia is going to lose.
Wow, I love it, man. Now I can't wait for that fight, man. That's awesome.
Look at the odds.
Hey, look, man. I love it, man. I love it.
He's live.
He's a live dog. No question about it. He's a live dog.
Like, who is Ryan Garcia fought? Let's look at Ryan Garcia's resume.
Let's fought the who's who, Beeb.
Let's take a look at his resume and let's compare it. He's 20-0. Okay. And let's look at who he's fought. And let's look at the records of some of these guys he's fought too. And Francisco Fonseca, who got destroyed by Tank. Romero Duno. Jose Lopez.
Duno's a top 10 guy. Jose Lopez was ranked number 1.
There's not one like.
What about Carlos Morales?
Come on. Majority decision. Jason.
He did. He got a majority over Carlos Morales.
I mean, come on. He's 20-0. Look at his resume and put it up against anyone else's. Like, look at Luke
Campbell. Let's look at Luke Campbell, man. Vasil Lomachenko lost a unanimous decision. He lost every round in that fight, virtually every round.
That's how the judges had it a whitewash.
Yeah, they sure did. I had it a whitewash too.
Yeah, I mean,
but listen, man, to go in there and stay 12 rounds with Lomachenko is not, that's not cakewalk right there.
I thought he had some moments in that fight.
Lost to Jorge Linares. Jorge Linares, a very good fighter.
That was a razor close loss.
Yeah, split decision. Yeah, it sure was. Darlise Perez. Wasn't Darlise Perez a champion?
WBA champion, lightweight.
Yeah.
Yep. Very solid fighter.
Gary Matthews was a solid fighter.
Sarah, solid fighter.
Argenis Mendez, another solid fighter.
Very good fighter.
Yvonne Mendy, another solid fighter. Tommy Coyle, another solid fighter. He's been in with some good competition.
Garcia has 20 fights, and he's fought nobody.
Solid competition, man.
He's fought nobody. They've moved him excessively slow, and now all of a sudden they're going to jump him right up to Luke Campbell.
I don't think they think of it as a big jump. I'll be honest with you. I don't think they do.
Of course they don't, but they're underestimating Luke Campbell.
Interesting, man.
Luke Campbell is solid. I think he wins. I think he wins the fight.
I'm real curious to see it now. Really am.
I'm not a huge Garcia fan. I honestly think this guy's he's just got a very weak defense, and I hate how he has his chin straight up in the air.
Not for nothing, Beeb. I saw him knock out Logan Paul with a body shot. So, I mean, he's got to be good, right?
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. All right, before we go to the awards this year, let's go to area code 516. I believe this is New York. Is that
That's
your
Rican.
boy?
That's Jesse Rican.
Jesse Rican, you're live.
That's the one, the only Jesse Rican. What's up, bro?
What's up?
I had a couple things to say.
Wake up now.
I was like, Jesse Rican, what's up? I'm sorry, you have a couple things to say. Go ahead.
So speaking about the refs, that Beef said about Nedrick Taylor, refereeing is so funny because I remember the Miguel Cotto versus Yuri Foreman match, and they threw in the white towel, and that ref didn't accept the white towel, which was like I think the first time I ever seen in history.
Never seen a ref.
I learned.
Never seen it before.
That could have like fucked up Yuri Foreman's whole career right there because he let him get more injured. But then again, you have referees like Joe Cortez who let Marquez versus Pacquiao 1 go on after 3 knockdowns, and a lot of refs would have stopped that. So it's such a hard call to say on what's good refereeing and what's bad refereeing. I guess the whole thing is the person has to have the perfect judgment at that time. Right? Would you guys agree with that?
Well, it's totally subjective, and referees definitely have different philosophies on what they're looking for. Like, for instance, Jack Reese has the guy do like a lap around the ring before
I gotta hate Jack Reese.
Walk this way. Like he gives the fighter a sobriety test.
Right. I hate Jack Reese.
And other fighters just have the guys just walk to me 2 steps. Give me your gloves. But Jack Reese makes you fucking run halfway down the side of the ring, run to the front of the ring 10 steps, put your glove on your nose like he's a fucking
turn yourself around.
But it's like what you said also too, though, because then, you got to make, if they just nod yes, then you could just call off the fight. Like,
yeah,
Anthony Joshua versus Ruiz, I think will be the most recent example of that.
Yeah,
where Joshua nodded yes, and everybody agreed that the ref made the right decision.
Yeah.
I think refereeing is just it's a hard job in general.
Sure.
I would say this much. I don't like refs that get too involved in the fight. Just let the fighters fight. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Some refs are overly officious. Jack Reese is one of them. I think he's an overly officious referee. I'm not a huge fan of Jack Reese.
I hate Jack Reese.
What? All right. All right. So this will be my final question of the day. Can I throw 5 refs at you guys, and you guys let me know your opinion?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So Jack Reese, you guys already
sucks.
You guys don't like
100% sucks. Richard Steele. Richard Steele. I thought he stopped fights too early. Although that being said, I thought he was right on with the Chavez Taylor fight.
Yeah, see, I think he wasn't, but
So who's the other 3?
Even to that though, Buddy McGirt says Richard Steele was right on that call.
Yeah,
right. All right. So next ones.
So Steve Smoger,
love him.
He's good. I think he's good.
No problem with him.
Kenny Bellis.
I thought I don't know. I'm kind of lukewarm on Kenny Bayless. I thought that he really would favor bouts with Mayweather. I thought he really would favor him, but I kind of lukewarm on him. He's not here nor there.
Arthur McCarthy Jr. is another one that I don't like.
Yeah. So, what's this?
Arthur McCarthy Jr. is another guy that I'm not a huge fan of.
Robert Byrd. Robert
crazy.
Burns sucks.
You know who else? You know who else I don't like? Lawrence Cole. He's a bad one.
How dare you?
So there's some bad ones out there. There's no question about it.
All right, so I'm going to give my final one. We all know him. We all love him. Rest in peace, Mills Lane. I'm pretty sure I know the answer on that one. But
I thought he was really good. I liked Mills Lane. I thought he could really take control of the fight.
I wasn't crazy about Mills Lane. I thought he was kind of like overly officious too. Like he just tried to be too macho and over controlling in the fight. And here's a huge mistake that he made. So when Tyson bit Holyfield the first time, he lets the fight go on.
Should have been it. That should have been it, right?
You disqualify him right there. There should never have been a second bite.
That being said, Jesse Reekin looked like he just dropped. But that being said, though, okay, he's in a bad spot. He really is in a bad spot because he got the biggest fight on the planet. I get it. He's in a bad spot. But, yeah, that was not the right call. Not the right call.
No.
8:05. I think this is Nacho. 8:05. You're live.
Hey, what's up, gang?
What's happening, Nacho?
What's up, Nacho? What's up, Nacho?
Nothing
Cheeto?
much. So just real quick, about that card. Eric, you're right as far as like the all the fights ended by knockout, but my God, like James Kirkland just needs to hang it up. Like that dude, every time he got hit yesterday, his legs were completely shot. Like he can't even take a shot anymore. Every time. Yeah. Yeah, he looked like he was completely drunk in that ring after he got dropped the first time. I don't know why they let him keep getting beat on the last two knockdowns. It was sad to see. Hopefully somebody tells him that it's time to go. The thing that I did find interesting was that they put up a graphic about the layoffs that he had, and he had at least 5 or 6 layoffs of more than a year and a half each time. And I thought to myself, my God, this guy literally pissed his career away by either being in trouble with the law or just not having fights happening. And that killed his career. I mean, his crowning achievement was that war that he had with Alfred Angulo back in I think it was 2012. That was probably the pinnacle of his career. And ever since then, he was just never able to keep it going, which is sad. But unfortunately, that happens when, guys don't stay out of trouble. So we'll see what happens moving forward. My God, the main event was horrible. Morrell and Gavronski. Gavronski was a blown-up club fighter, and he had no business in there with a guy like Morrell. And Morrell was just using him for target practice last night. It was pathetic just to see him get beat up. And the fact that they even let it go 3 rounds, I just was like, what are you doing? You're letting this poor guy just get beat on, and he's not even responding. He's just being beat on all night. So that was just a terrible one. The Chavez kid that you guys are talking about, I saw that fight. I did find it very interesting that they matched him as tough as they did last night. I didn't expect them to give him a kid who hadn't lost a fight going into that fight yesterday.
I didn't either.
For him to get knocked out the way he did, that's a bad loss from the standpoint of, like you guys said, that he didn't say he was okay. He just kind of stood there and let the referee basically make the decision for him. And that was his fault. He should have said, yeah, I'm good to go.
I think he was just out of it. I think he was just cloudy. Yeah, I think he was just cloudy. I don't think
he was.
Yeah, I don't think it was anything like he chose to make. I just think he was cloudy. Yeah, he was out.
Yeah, because that was a bad knockdown. The guy hit him with 2 legit straight rights that dropped him on his back, and I think he hit his head, and I think he was out of it, and he just wasn't able to recover quickly enough. Yeah, I mean, it's a bad stoppage for him, but I think he'll be fine. He's only 4 fights into his career. He can come back from it. Yeah, so he'll be fine. I think they'll give him some, easier fights moving on just to kind of get him back in there. But the kid's young; he's only 18. This isn't a career killer for him. And what was it? I didn't know that the PBC signed Butayev, the guy that fought last year against was it Vesputin, the guy that he fought, the one that he lost to, or that? Yeah, it was Vesputin that he lost to, and then they overturned it because Vesputin ended up getting busted for some sort of PED. He looked good yesterday, although the guy they gave him was a complete journeyman. I was like, who is this dude? He literally looked like he had never fought before, even though he had 10 fights under his belt. And he took that guy apart last night. And, he might be another player for them at 47. That's another body that, they can throw in there against some of the other guys. And, we'll see what happens with him. I think he can make some noise there at 47 for the PBC, depending on, who they match him up with. And, he was Jesse Regan was talking about these refs. Like, the one thing I don't get now is, what is it with these guys, especially in California, when you see these guys reffing? What is it with them making these guys walk from side to side like they're testing, like checking for a DUI or something? It's kind of bizarre. I've never seen referees do that.
It's stupid.
Yeah, it is.
It really is. You're wasting time.
I thought the whole point was,
you're
letting a guy recover when he's supposed to be like ready to fight.
Right.
It's like, come on, you can't give him an extra.
We're not giving him an extra 20 minutes here,
to recover.
Right.
Yeah. That I've never understood how they let them get away with that, but
it's crazy.
We'll see. And then, and real quick, as far as the Campbell Garcia fight, I agree with Beeb. I think Campbell is a sneaky pick for the upset because, Garcia's fought some decent fighters, but I think he's going like from facing double A, pitching to like major league pitching all of a sudden with Campbell. The only way I think he beats Campbell is if Campbell just doesn't show up. And I think Campbell knows that he has to show up Saturday because if he loses to Garcia, he might as well just call it a career because at that point, losing to a prospect, that's a terrible look for Campbell. So I think Campbell's going to lay it all out there.
Well, I think calling Ryan Garcia a prospect at this point in his career, what is he? Let's see here.
He's 20-0.
20-0. He's not 20-0, Eric, man.
But
he's not.
He hasn't fought a top 10 contender though. So he technically is a prospect.
Out of all those, when you take a look at him, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, and you look at Tank Davis, here's the thing. He's got the weakest resume out of all of them.
I don't know about that, Beeb. I think Devin Haney is right there with Ryan Garcia.
No, Gamboa is still better than anyone that Ryan Garcia fought, in my opinion.
I think you might be right there. Yeah, I think
Garcia's facing a better guy with Campbell.
Now,
I think Garcia's facing the better fighter in Campbell. But still, that's a better guy than beating an old, washed-up Gamboa.
And he's
I think Haney's resume is very questionable. So
what if Garcia goes out there and blasts out Luke Campbell? Where would you rank him now if Garcia goes out there and blasts Luke Campbell out? How would you guys feel about it?
He goes up several rungs in the ladder, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If he does that.
I think he's a lower top 10 guy.
I think
he's a lower top 10 guy if he waxes Campbell.
But I tell you what, because I see the same thing Beeb sees in him. I just don't see the same things in Campbell that Beeb sees in Campbell. So I think it's a favorable matchup for Garcia. But that being said, man, if I'm Oscar, I don't put this guy against Tank. I don't put him anywhere near Tank. I don't put him anywhere near Haney or any of those guys. I keep that keep that train rolling. You know what I mean?
Well, he's not going to put him anywhere near those guys.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
At least not soon. At least not until 2022, Eric. That's for sure. He's going to give him at least another year to get some better fights under his belt before I think he even thinks about taking that risk.
Yeah,
I don't think he does it this coming year.
No, I don't. I don't.
So,
I would hope not. Depends, but you know how they are, man. If he looks good against Campbell and he does a good job, I mean, sometimes they're not always real bright about it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Just want to give a quick Just want to give a quick heads up to the chat. Sorry to interrupt. No COVID jokes in the chat, man. Won't be tolerated. My brother was in the hospital for 11 days. He got COVID, and I was scared to death. So no COVID jokes in the chat. Sorry.
Very good. Very good. Absolutely. Yeah. Nothing to joke about, man. It's
all right, guys. I'm sure.
Not good. All right, Nacho. We're gonna get running, man. Thank you so much, right, man. Guys. Stay tuned. All right. D-Style, thank you so much. He said sobriety test for fighters. There you go. Wood says that Garcia's power, speed, and youth will be too much for Campbell. That's kind of where I come at it from. It'll be real interesting to see if he can last the distance. For me anyway, it'll be interesting to see if he can go the distance and all that other good stuff with him and see how it works. We'll see how it works out, man. And Wood said his brother is still sick. So, hey, thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family for sure, man. This stuff is nothing to mess around with, man. My aunt just got out of the hospital just a couple of weeks ago, a week or so ago, with COVID. COVID, So, yeah, it's not good.
That's not funny.
Yeah, not good. So, all right. Let's see here. Area code 508.
From this day, you'll be my new fool.
Georgie.
Hey, yo! Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, guys.
Oh, happy holidays, my man.
Just crack it lacking. Yo, let me get to the early stoppage. And so with that early stoppage. Yo.
What's up with these long pauses from people? Like, him and Jesse Reekin, like, what's going on? What's up with the freaking time? Spit it out, bro. You got something to say? Say it.
Stop it.
I want to know what you guys. I want to know what you guys got to say about that early stoppage.
I don't think it was early. I don't think it was early at all, man.
I don't
think it was early at all. I think that the fact that Angel could not answer him, he nodded his head. But if you watch how emphatically when the guy stopped the fight and he walked him to his corner, Angel was protesting like there was no tomorrow. I'm okay. There's nothing wrong with me. I want to fight. I'm okay. That's the kind of protesting he should have done when he got up from that knockdown. Not after the fight's called. And as many fights as he's had in the amateurs, and he's got great trainers over there. I know his father knows a ton about boxing. His brother knows a ton about boxing.
I don't know. This shit got to be some Mandela effect. There's got to be some type of Mandela effect. Because as far as I can recall boxing, it was a simple question. Now we got all the top there. He had seeing on his eyes, and I couldn't determine. And you got to go here, walk there. I mean, come on. It used to be a simple question. Can you continue?
Well, it was a simple question, and he couldn't answer that question.
You just went down.
Well, that's the point. That's the point.
What?
That's the point. He just went down, and look, he got back up, and the guy wasn't asking him to walk across the ring or anything like that. He just said, "Hey, are you okay? Do you want to go?" And he just nodded. And you can't do that. You got to answer that guy.
That man, he lost his soul. He lost his soul, right? He lost his soul.
Yeah, but the referee doesn't care about him losing his O. He doesn't want. He doesn't. He's there to protect him. He's not there to protect his O. So, fact of the matter is, he was asked a question. Fact of the matter is, he was asked a question. He didn't verbally respond. And again, Joshua nodded his head. Taylor nodded his head. Like when you nod your head, A lot of times the referee is not going to accept that as a response.
He was here back. He was here back like a month ago giving an interview, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was in here. He was in here giving an interview. Yeah.
You gotta bring him back. Yo, bring him back. Bring him back and ask him, because I would have swear that I heard him say something.
No, he didn't say anything.
No, he didn't say anything?
He didn't say anything. He just nodded his head yes.
Something. I couldn't understand what the fuck he said.
Go back and watch the replay. Go back and watch
he didn't say anything. I watched that replay quite a few times. Yeah,
I watched it 10 times. He didn't say shit.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
He didn't say shit.
I swear to God, he didn't say yes. Georgie.
He nodded, but he didn't say
anything.
anything.
I'm gonna bring him over. Yo, but he looked good.
I thought he looked good.
To have like a little questionable chin, but listen. What was the guy who what was the name of the black dude? What is his name? I don't want to disrespect him. What is his name?
Trayvon Lawson.
The guy who beat him.
Yeah.
Trayvon. Yo, shout out to Trayvon, bro. Cause I saw the first 2 rounds and he was getting cut with all type of shit. But something told me, listen, this man is relentless. He's not gonna be denying. If he can hang out for the 6th, 7th round, this could be a totally different fight. Cause he got hit with bomb shit and he still, he wasn't about to be denied at all. At all. I don't give a fuck who do you put in front of him that night. That night he defended his own, and that shit was crazy. I would like to see a rematch. I don't have a lot to say, people. Shout out to the UK. Shout out to Rafi. I see you on the chat representing the UK. And shout out to the world. I'm out of here.
All right. Good job, Georgie. All right. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, Beeb, let's get to it. The year-end awards here. Beeb, it's time.
It's time.
Let's start it off. We might as well kick it off with the most coveted award there is. Caller of the year. Beeb, we heard from the 2. Nacho, who is the defending caller of the year. We have Georgie, who's been with us for a number of years. He's never won it. It's a tough one. It's a very tough one. Beeb, it's time.
I'm going to give the caller of the year to Wood.
What?
I'm giving it to Wood.
Wood, why? What are you talking about?
I love Wood.
I bet you do. But look, man, I mean, listen, I'm not used to hearing another guy saying I love Wood, okay? But that being said, Wood.
I love morning wood, but I love Wood.
Hey, whatever, man. I don't know.
That means
there's anything wrong with that, okay?
That means shit's working. Wood has the most memorable, and I'm going to give Wood a huge compliment.
Okay.
Some of his calls this year, they were not only entertaining from just a comedic standpoint, an entertainment standpoint, he's really developed into a great analyst when he's breaking down these fights now.
He really is.
He's become
He's
become very, very analytical. Notorious VC, go fuck yourself. I already have COVID, and my brother got COVID. I already told you, don't make fucking COVID jokes, all right?
What did he say? I didn't even see it.
Fuck you, okay? When you're wrong, the only response you should have is, I'm sorry. That's it. Don't fucking cry, because I'll block you out of this fucking chat forever. I'll block you out of this chat forever. I had fucking COVID, and it wasn't funny. You don't make fucking COVID jokes. You don't wish somebody gets COVID. If you do that, you're a fucking horrible human being, you piece of fucking shit. So go fuck yourself. Okay, now back to this.
Aaron Daly, thank you so much for the vote. Go ahead.
I think that Wood is the best caller we have. I think his calls are classic. His calls are memorable. And that doesn't mean that nothing against fucking Nacho, because Nacho's a great caller too. You know why? Because he's one of the only callers that sits there and watches every fight and he breaks down every fight. So he's a real dedicated fan.
He really is.
He goes above and beyond, and he really. But for me, as much as I love Nacho, I just think Wood brings just a level of entertainment that no one else does. And the thing is, too, Georgie, he's been a little bit off the rails lately. Like, he just goes on these tangents and he goes around and a lot of straw man arguments, a lot of hostility. You have, like, you and I have a simple disagreement about something, right?
Sure.
We debate it civilly. This guy's like offended that you disagree with him. Everything is a conspiracy. He's turned into Alex Jones. I just can't. He's too much.
Can I tell you the rant you just had now rivaled the other rant, and I think it was earlier this year. Remember when we did that weekday show? That had to be.
What did I do? What did I do that day?
The best moment, I think, might have been in just show history. Okay, aside from the Anthony Joshua win Anthony Ruiz Joshua win when we went nuts on TV, I think the best moment was when your brother's in the other room.
Oh yeah.
And he's messing around with something. You're just like, shut. And then you start arguing. He's like, I'm gonna hit my right off your dome if you don't shut up.
Yeah, that was hilarious when I did that.
That had to be the best moment in show history. All right, Beeb's vote for caller of the year is for Wood, and I got to be honest, I can't disagree with that much. I can't disagree with it much. Wood's a very good caller, man. He really is. Very funny. He's always got memorable calls. Like when he calls in, he's always got something memorable. Nacho, very much the same way. When he calls in, he breaks the fights down. I've heard people argue that he breaks them down better than Beeb, but that's just what I hear. I don't know. I don't necessarily subscribe to that, but I'm just saying.
That's a lot of misinformation, but go ahead.
I agree. I get it from Newsmax. So my vote for caller of the year. Georgie.
Oh my God.
Georgie has been with us for years. Calls every week like clockwork. Him and Nacho call every week like clockwork. Georgie gives us the most memorable calls, gives us one of the most entertaining calls, and sometimes he makes sense. And he's got a call from Rikers. All right? He's got a call from Rikers. So that's not easy to do when you got a bunch of people waiting to use the phone. So there you go.
From this day, you'll be my new fool.
We have a split caller of the year, both Wood and Georgie. Guys, text me. We'll see if we can get you a t-shirt or something like that. We'll see if we can get you guys a t-shirt out. Good? No good?
Do you think we should have a tiebreaker? Should have the?
I do not.
You want to be like Ring Magazine and have double?
I want to have double. Yes, I want to have.
I'm gonna respect that. I think we should have a tiebreaker with the chat, but if you don't want to do that, that's fine.
Notorious CC said ESL Student of the Year, Georgie Porgy. Ringside Reporter Champion, DJ. Plus, he's got the belt, doesn't he? Does he have the belt, or who's got the belt now? I forget. I know it's not me. Is it you or Georgie? I think Georgie's got it now.
Georgie's got the belt now because he who did you bet that? Who picked Joe Joy? No.
Yeah, that's right. Because
Georgie does have the belt. He beat me.
Yeah, because he took Joe Joyce, right?
No,
he took Joe Joyce, and I took the other guy.
Georgie and I had a bet. I think I took Leo Santa Cruz.
Yeah, against Tank.
And he took Tank, and that's how.
I bet Aaron Daly. That's who I bet. I bet Aaron Daly, wasn't it?
I lost the title to Georgie.
Yeah, because I bet Aaron Daly.
You had a non-title fight.
Yeah, because I bet him that Joe Joyce was going to lose against that other guy who quit in the ring, and then turns out I lost.
Yeah,
so,
you can't even say that guy's name anymore.
Absolutely. He won't be said. Won't be said anymore. He's dead to us. He is dead to us.
You're totally disgraced by that guy.
I am very disgraced by him. He is no longer welcome on this show. Not that he's a friend of the show or anything. I'm just saying in general, he's not welcome. All right. Caller of the year. Co-callers of the year, Wood and Georgie.
All right.
What a great night. Beeb, it's a spectacle. It's a great night.
I'm happy with it.
I am too. Very happy with it. Let's move on to something more meaningful here. Trainer of the year. Beeb, my trainer of the year is Derek James. Derek James guides Jamal Charlo, the 154 guy, Errol Spence. I think that, to me, he's got both of those guys primed, especially with what he's done with Errol Spence off the car accident, everything else. I like what he's doing. I like the way he's earned the stripes in there. I think he's my trainer of the year.
I'm going to go with Teofimo Lopez Sr., and I'm going to tell you why.
Sure.
He not only said his son was going to win, but he's also told everyone how his son was going to win. He explained it and he broke it down. So for that, and because how that fight was such an upset, I'm going to have to give it to him, because he was with his son from day one. He believed in his son from day one. He told everybody years ago what his son was capable of doing and what his son was going to do. And his plan came to fruition. He said, we're going to box this kid. Don't be surprised if we outbox this kid. Okay? And that's what they did. And a lot of people didn't believe him.
Nobody picked him. Very few
people picked him. Very few people picked him. So for the type of fight that he was involved in and what he did for his son to prepare him for this task at hand, you could tell they had a phenomenal game plan and they followed it to a T. And even during the fight, the instructions in the corner were very descriptive. They were very forthcoming. They weren't just vague cheering sessions like most trainers do. They weren't trying to light a fire under the guy. He gave them analytical instructions, and they had a game plan, and they followed it. So my hat goes off to them.
It's good stuff. Yeah. Let's talk about the prospect of the year. This is always a difficult one. You just don't know. It's one of those things you just don't know. And you could have a few. Vito Mielnicki would be a good one, I think. He would be very good for a prospect of the year, but I'm going to go a little bit in a different direction here. My prospect of the year is Daniyar Ulasanov. And he's a welterweight. He's 9-0. They call him Kazakh Thunder. And this is the guy who just KO'd Julius Ndongo in 2 rounds. And to me, this guy he passes the eye test. He looks good. He looks good in all facets. He looks good on defense. He looks good on offense. He's really coming together. And I think this guy is going to make a splash in 21.
Yeah. I'm going to have to agree with you. From what I've seen in that fight, he showed great poise. The way he opened up and set up the KO, he just seems like a very seasoned pro. You could tell he had a very great amateur career, and he's well schooled. So I'm going to go with you there, because Ndongo has been knocked out before, but only when he fights
Terrence Crawford. Yeah, Terrence Crawford was.
And Regis Prograis. Like when he fights close to elite guys, you can call those guys elite if you want. Maybe not Regis Prograis, but Regis Prograis is
I think he's very. I think Prograis is elite, man. I don't know.
You can put him in the upper echelon. Yeah,
for sure.
So
make an argument he should be undefeated right now. So I mean, you thought he won that fight against Taylor. So
I did, yeah. So when you look at those guys, are the only guys that are able to, when you're in that company, because I think Crawford knocked him out in 3, Prograis knocked him out in 2, and Yunusinoff knocked him out in 2 as well. So if you can do what those great guys can do to that guy like that, who's generally been a very durable guy, because no one thought that Ndongo would go away quietly. This was probably a fight that I think they expected would go some rounds, and it didn't. Then definitely overachieved in that performance.
Yeah. Yulesinoff looks good, man. He really does. He looks like he's going to be the real deal. So
I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. I think
another guy out of Europe, out of Kazakhstan, right there. I mean, it's a hotbed right now, man. I'll tell you that. A lot of good fighters coming up from there. Knockout of the year, Beeb. My knockout of the year is going to be Gervonta Davis KOing Leo Santa Cruz. That uppercut that he got hit with was a nightmare. Just a nightmare.
Mine's going to be Dillian White.
Yeah.
And Alexander Povetkin. I thought
that was a good one too.
That uppercut that Alexander Povetkin landed was hellacious.
That was crazy, right? That's a good. You can't argue that one either, man. Either one. I was going back and forth on that one too. I was like, yeah, that was a solid one too. Fight of the year for me. The fight of the year had to be, I mean, Wilder versus Fury 2 back in February.
I'm going to say
that was the fight of the year.
Barientes and who's that? The guy Barientes fought. Trying to remember. Let me just remember the guy he fought.
Zepeda,
yeah. I think Barientes Zepeda is the fight of the year, definitely.
Yeah, to me, the Wilder Fury was a big event. And it was one-sided. I will tell you that. But I think it was just a magnitude that nobody thought. Everybody was wondering what was going to happen when. What was going to happen when these two guys got in the ring? What was going to happen? And, and me being a Tyson Fury fan, what I wanted.
There was 6 knockdowns in that fight. Both guys looked like they could have got knocked out. And, Zepeda just pulled lightning out of a bottle and got the job done. So,
yeah. That was a good fight too. You can't, that was a good fight. Fighter of the year. For me, I think this is an easy one. The Takeover, Teofimo, baby.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
Listen, you could go other ways with it. To me, you could say Fury, but to me, Teofimo Lopez, man, for him to do what he did in the manner in which he did it against Vasyl Lomachenko, I don't think you can argue it. And you could say Canelo. You could argue Canelo. But if you were to make the Canelo argument, what I would say is that, number one, Canelo was favored to win that fight. And he was favored to win it pretty big. He was favored pretty big. Now, I didn't favor him big. I thought it was a pretty toss-up fight. But the fact that he went in there and just demolished that guy, Canelo I'm speaking about, won every round. That fight wasn't close, and that fight wasn't really up in the air. Nobody, everybody kind of expected the result going in. Most people, I'll say that, most people expected that result going in. Teofimo, they expected the other result going in.
Yeah. I
agree. Was he yours too?
100%. 100%. He was a greater underdog than Tyson Fury was against Wilder. Though that fight was an even fight, pretty much, and a lot of people were still picking Fury to win that fight. So, but here's the thing: no one thought Teofimo Lopez was going to win that fight. He opened up at it like a 4-1 underdog, and the way he beat him by outboxing him, no one thought that was going to happen either. Just like no one thought that Fury was going to knock out Wilder, but a lot of people still think he was going to win the fight. But not only that, this was for basically undisputed. I don't care about the franchise thing. Eddie Hearn's trying to say, yeah. The fans look at Teofimo Lopez as the man at lightweight.
He's the man now.
You know,
like it or not.
And most people think Fury's the man at heavyweight, but there's a lot of UK fans that are trying to say Joshua is the man still. So there's an argument. There's really not even an argument right now at lightweight.
Right.
He pretty much sealed the deal.
I would go along with that. Yeah, I would go along with that. And I've never seen anybody this is like overnight. He is now the man. There is no you may want to see him fight, but he's favored against anybody now. He fights Lomachenko again. He's going to be favored against Lomachenko without question. So
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. I don't see how Lomachenko could come back and be a better version of what he was in the first fight.
Well, he's not going to be. And I'll tell you, because he's not accepting the loss. And when you don't accept a loss, you don't accept that you can improve. So if you don't accept you can improve, you cannot become better.
And pretty much to your point, to piggyback off that, if you don't accept the loss and you don't think that you really did anything wrong, then you're not going to work on correcting anything you did in the first fight. Here's the thing. You can make an argument that he was injured, but Lopez was injured way more than he was. He had broken bones in his foot and torn ligaments in his foot, and his wrist, and supposedly his right wrist was jacked up.
Anybody can say anything they want. You never come into a fight 100%. You just don't. Am I right about that? I mean, where have you ever gone into an athletic event where you're 100% and you feel great after all the training and everything that you've done? Never.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, if you had a choice going into a fight, what would you rather have? A broken foot or a friggin' swollen shoulder? I think I would take the swollen shoulder.
Take the shoulder. I would take the shoulder for sure. You can't move with a broken foot.
You got to push off that foot. Imagine if that foot was 100%. And then idiots were like, oh, well, how did he do a backflip at the end if his foot was broken? First of all, he's fucking taking all types of fucking anti-inflammatories. They had the fucking foot taped up, whatever. So my rebuttal to that person is, well, how did Lomachenko throw a punch if his shoulder was fucked up? It's the same thing,
right?
When you're operating off of adrenaline, and you do what you got to do to get it done,
Well, and you know yourself that adrenaline only takes you so far. You'll dump adrenaline before the contest is over, most likely, especially if it's a distance thing, if it's a marathon or something like whatever, a long distance thing, your adrenaline will die out after so long. And then you got to be on your training. Then you got to rely on your training and whatever got you there.
Well, then also you got to dig down deep and rely on intestinal fortitude. That's your heart.
Sure.
So,
yeah. So there you have it, man. Fighter of the year, Teofimo Lopez. That was unanimous. Let's go to the news and rumors here. Some sad news, Beeb, man. This was sad, man. Frankie Randall, the first guy ever to beat Julio Cesar Chavez officially. I guess I could say officially because I thought Pernell Whitaker beat him. First guy to beat Chavez officially. Passed away at the age of 59, man. He was only 59. And they didn't listen to official cause of death. And to be real honest with you, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, he was a champion. He'll always be a champion and always be that first guy to give Chavez a loss. I could see that fight just in my head when I heard this. I just kept seeing that knockdown over and over again. That first knockdown, boom, in that first fight.
That was a
squared up
right hand, wasn't it?
Man, and he knew exactly when to throw it. Chavez squared up. He was walking toward him, squared himself up, and then got caught, man. I mean, it was just a thing of beauty. Thing of beauty, man. Went up, won a title against Juan Martin Koji. Fought. I mean, I would have liked to seen. I tell you what, I would have liked to seen Frankie Randall fight Pernell Whitaker. I really would have, because Randall was such a good fighter. He would adjust. He would make the adjustments, but he could go the rounds. He never got tired. He wasn't he wasn't that guy who was going to gas out.
Another good win he had was over Freddie Pendleton, guy that didn't have the greatest record in the world, but he was a lightweight champion. He was solid. He was a tough out for anybody.
Absolutely, man. But that, I tell you what, that fight against Chavez made him like a household name in the sense that everybody in boxing then knew who he was. and then you wanted to see him fight again, And I thought that second fight, I think that second fight really could have went either way. I thought that was a weird that ended on was it a headbutt, Beeb? Was that what it was?
Okay, so the WBC had this rule.
Yeah, it was
that if a fight went past 3 rounds and it was stopped due to a headbutt, accidental headbutt, automatically the fighter that gets cut, the fighter that cut him, I think gets a point taken away. So they took a point away
on an accidental.
I don't think they have that rule anymore, but they had it back then.
They sure don't.
They took a point away from Frankie Randall because he didn't get cut. And he didn't even initiate the butt. He got friggin' ganked in that fight. He won that fight.
Yeah.
I thought he won that fight.
I thought he did too. I thought I was surprised.
And he got ganked in that fight because of that stupid rule.
And he said also too in that first fight that Chavez never sent his belt. Just took his belt. Because I guess it's customary or whatever for him to send you the belt or whatever. Or I guess
this is what happened.
That was the second fight. Fight.
This is what happens. What happened was he gave Chavez the belt. Is that what you mean? Like he gave Chavez the belt and Chavez?
Yeah.
Chavez
never gave it. You're supposed to return it that night. You're supposed to return it that night. And he never gave it back to him because they send you 2. They send you 1 to keep and 1 to take to fights. Chavez took both. Chavez took the belt and never gave it back to Randall.
To this day, Randall never got it back.
Douche. An idiot. And I'm sure he got the belt replaced by the WBC or whatever, but it wasn't his belt. You know what I mean? It wasn't the one he won. Who does that?
That's not right.
That's how they say you never want to meet your heroes and stuff like that. Because growing up, I was a big JCC guy, and I was but I never really wanted to meet him. Because I always heard that he was kind of a jerk, I just never wanted to meet him.
Everybody talks about Hector Camacho having a lot of demons.
Yeah.
Having, demons with his issues and stuff. Chavez had a lot of issues too, man.
He had a lot of drug issues and everything like that. Even up until recently.
He was a big drink. He was a big drinker. I think he's dabbled in some narcotics as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, that's he was definitely there.
He was known as a womanizer. He cheated on his wife a lot and stuff. Wife ended up divorcing him.
I wonder if you ever cheated on her with that, remember Gladys, that translator chick?
I heard that's the woman he cheated on him with. Yeah.
Is it really?
There's a rumor going around that he was
nice
hooking up with that. She was kind of cute, right?
She was all right, man. Yeah, I would have.
You know what I used to love about who was that guy? The other guy that was the interpreter, the guy with the glasses, and him and her were great interpreters. You know why? Because they would enunciate and speak the way like if Chavez was mad. And then they would translate. She would translate. She's like, "Well, yes, I don't think that she would translate it in the same manner that he was saying it. In other words, and it was funny listening to that. He would be when he lost to Randall, and he's like, "Oh, I want to sue. I want to sue the ref, the commission." And she was translating it. Like, "Oh, I want to sue them if I can." And she was she was saying it in an angry tone, just like Chavez was. It's so funny listening to them.
You know who was the worst? You know who was the worst translator, man? I thought was Ferdy Pacheco. Oh, I thought he was terrible. I thought he was just terrible, man.
He was horrible.
He was awful. All right, sorry about our train wreck of the week here. This is insane to me, B. This is just insane. Sergey Kovalev busted for showing an illegal DAZN stream just 1 month before fighting on DAZN. Who does this, man? This is from The Athletic. If you were on Instagram during the fight, you might have seen the former light heavyweight champion Sergey Kovalev hosting a live stream of the entire main event, and that was, of course, illegal. And now sources tell The Athletic that DAZN is considering action against Kovalev. That was one of the most recognizable names in the sport, would add issue by hosting such a Such a stream is surprising. At its peak, Kovalev's live Instagram stream attracted more than 2,500 viewers. That equals, this is really interesting, that equals a potential loss for DAZN between $50,000 of monthly subscriptions or 250,000 annual subscriptions. That's a lot of money, babe. That's nothing to sneeze at. And this moron is fighting there. Does this boggle your mind or what? Like, he's going to fight on DAZN. This is like they're giving you money. They're paying you, and you're over there on Instagram showing their stuff off for free. What gives here, man?
It's kind of crazy, man, to be honest.
It really is.
Like, you can't, with all the money you've made over the last couple of years, what was that Canelo fight? Like that what did he get? Like
I had to get about 10, 11.
I heard he got like
would he walk home with like 3 or 4?
I heard he got like a couple million for that fight.
Well, sure.
Highest payday of his career, and he can't afford to buy a pay-per-view.
It's insane.
I don't know.
Notorious he says that the illegal streamer of the year is Sergey Kovalev. It's insane, right, babe?
It's ridiculous, bro.
Canelo Alvarez is fighting Avni Yildirim, and that is set for February 27th in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico.
That's crazy.
Beeb, that's an awesome fight, right? You got Avni Yildirim, Canelo going to go at it.
Didn't he just get knocked out by Chris Eubank Jr. in like 2 rounds and something?
Why are you bringing up old stuff, Beeb? Why are you peeing on the parade?
Oh, my God.
I don't understand this.
That's
because I sense that you're not entirely happy here.
I'm not.
Are you saying that you don't like the Yildirim Canelo fight?
I am not happy in the least bit for this fight. I'm sorry. This is a horrible fight.
I am shocked.
It's a horrible fight, bro.
Really?
It's real bad.
I had no idea.
I'm so sorry.
I had no idea. I don't know what I'm going to do now.
Then I'm hearing Billy Joe Saunders is supposed to be after that.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing too. Him or Caleb Plant is nowhere in the conversation anymore. He'll be fighting. Who knows who he'll be fighting? But yeah, Avni Yildirim. And the reason, from what I understood, Beeb, the reason he's fighting Avni Yildirim is he's a mandatory. That's why he's fighting Yildirim.
Coming off of a loss. Too.
How in the world he's a mandatory? I don't know. Your guess on there is as good as mine.
Shout out to the WBC for another brilliant move.
Is that the WBC mandatory? I would have guessed WBA, but I don't know.
WBC mandatory, bro.
Unreal.
Out of control.
It really is. Mayweather exploring fight opportunities beyond Logan Paul. Solomon Ingle, he's the founder and CEO of FanMio, who I guess is promoting this whole thing, told the Sun newspaper, "I can't speak for Floyd's future, but I can tell you we are looking to work together beyond this fight. So there may be future fights beyond this one, but it's too early to tell for sure. We have a lot to bring to the table and the sport of boxing, but at the end of the day, his future will be determined by him." Beeb, this is what we have to look forward to in 2021. We have Mayweather fighting Logan Paul. And why is this fight? I don't understand this. Do you think it pulls in that much money?
No.
You think it pulls in that much money? I don't think it pulls in that much money.
I think people are getting wise to this.
Sure.
I don't know. I just think the gimmick's starting to wear off now. To be honest with you.
I think so too. I think that that's my thing is that you can only, you can shear a sheep many times, but skin them only once. You remember that saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what they're doing here.
And he's trying to I think he's jealous of what Mike Tyson did. So he's trying to jump on that bandwagon a little bit and outdo what Mike Tyson did. And it's just not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen.
He's not as popular. I mean, he's just not. I mean,
well, Mike Tyson's become very likable as well, too. And Floyd
he's not likable.
He's just not a likable guy.
No, he's not at all. But he made his living on not being likable.
Well, the reason why he made his living on not being likable, because people were paying to see him lose.
Sure.
But here's the problem. If you're fighting guys that you that no one thinks you're going to lose against, then the people that paid to see you lose aren't gonna buy the pay-per-view. That's the problem.
You know, and I mean,
That's the problem.
it's not like you're really putting yourself out there against Logan Paul.
No.
You know what I mean? I mean, if you want to fight somebody, go ahead and fight, fight Keith Thurman or somebody.
At least
somebody
Tension,
we know, you know.
At least Tension was a real fighter.
Yeah. And listen, like Logan Paul is probably good in the gym. He's probably better than your average street fighter because he does train and everything like that. So he's probably better. I mean, he's better than your average street fighter. He can knock out a celebrity. I get that, but
he could probably kick my ass right now. But again, I ain't saying much.
Right.
I
mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's like, at the end of the day, what's it? You know, you're fighting this guy who has zero. His last 3 fights, McGregor. I think you brought this up. McGregor, Tension, and Logan Paul. Out of those 3 guys, they have 0 wins in professional boxing. Zero wins.
0 wins.
And what are you doing? I don't understand. I don't understand. Like, I just don't get this. He must be flat broke. That's the only thing. I could come up with, man. He must be flat broke. No question.
I can't figure it out, bro.
No. All right, guys, that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Joe Habib
from Boston
on Twitter at JHabib1 and find our YouTube channel at ringsidereporterlive.com. You can find me on Twitter at ringside73. And I hope everybody had a great holiday. Be safe this New Year's. New Year's is coming up, so be safe out there. And I just, again, want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to thank you guys for catching the show each week and everything like that. And we do appreciate it, man. We really do. Beeb, any parting words?
Everybody just stay safe out there and continue to take this virus seriously because it's no joke. The vaccine came out. My sister is a nurse. She got the vaccine. She's doing okay. So I feel pretty safe and confident about the vaccine. I'm going to take it when it's available to me. I think I'll be fine with it. And all I can do is wish everyone a safe and happy New Year and just make sure you guys take care of yourselves, man, because we're not promised tomorrow.
Absolutely. Very well said. All right. We will see you guys next week.